Wow, you guys didn't see that, but there's this butterfly that's just oh, it flew away. That's funny. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll have to go back in the video and look at that. But you know, that butterfly is it's an example of kind of how life is. It you know, I was like inside the past couple of days, and I got out last night, but it wasn't during the day. It wasn't like absorbing the sunlight. I was hooked on RuneScape. I've been addicted to that game for the past 3 weeks. You see, I don't know how you guys are, but when my mind sets a goal on something, I got my eyes on something, right? Something that involves work, something that involves progress, something that involves a little bit of a grind, whether it be a video game, whether it be a real life grind or whatever. Like even going for a run could be considered a grind, especially if it's a long run. If you're training for a marathon, that's like, I think 26 something miles or something like that. But it's got a lot of mileage on that whole package. So you're gonna have to do the grind and put the work in if you want to have good results. And that's what this life is about. We always seek some form of comfort. I think it's like our instinctive nature to want to seek something that is comfortable, a comforting setting. And you know, like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm guilty of it a lot, guilty of it all the time. But life is gonna throw you curveballs if the universe is trying to get you unstuck. If it's trying to get you, like for me, I needed to get outside. Last night was a really deepening exposure. The past couple of days before that, I was feeling really lethargic, getting a lot of sleep. My body needed rest. I was like, man, I'm tired. I don't want to like go outside and go for a walk. You know, I just kind of want to play RuneScape, chill in my room and fall asleep. And maybe working the night shift does that. I don't know. I'm just sort of being myself in this video. This is a mixture of my awareness, but my ego too, and I'm just kind of flowing with it. So it's none of this is scripted. It's a new kind of video. But you know, like lately, at least the past week, there's a lot to live for. There's a lot to want to live for. And sometimes we can get stuck in that. And we need something to pull us out of that. Well, you know, my love for running is one of those things that just works for me. And sometimes if you don't know what that something is, you got to try new things until it just clicks. Something in here just, like that cog, just loosens up because it's been rusty for so many years. And now you know what you want to live for. And it's like, well, I don't have this. I wish I had this. You can have those thoughts in your head. And maybe if it's something you can work towards, you can get it. But sometimes life, things don't go the way we want them to go. A lot of it in relationships, for example. Say you're with someone and it was really good, and then all of a sudden, bam! Life hits you with something. And depending on your perspective, it could be good or bad or what have you, but that's all based on our perspective. We have the power within us to shift that perspective. But sometimes we need a little push and we can't do it ourselves. And I'm guilty of this a lot of the time. But my love for running always comes through. Because my body, I'll be in front of RuneScape like I was for 6 hours yesterday. And it was like 10:30 at night. And my body's like, dude, you've been torturing us for 6 hours. You've been sitting in front of this computer screen, grinding quests, grinding skills, grinding this, grinding that, and you haven't gone outside for a run? Your legs are screaming at you, dude. You need to get your ass out the door and you need to go run. And, you know, whether that's my thoughts or whether that's my body, telling me to go do that, I knew intuitively that needed to get done. I needed to go for a walk. I needed to go for a run. I needed to get my ass outside, and I did. And a change of perspective, and even more so today, I'm actually outside in the sun. It's been a few days since I've done this. And this is something a lot of the time, and I know I'm not the only one, especially with all these digital bombardments we have in our lives, we're distracting ourselves from actually living our life. And, the energy will come to you, but you have to be open to receiving that energy. And the first step is shifting your perspective. No matter what circumstance you're in, there's always a flip side. There's always another way to look at it, good or bad, or maybe it's somewhere in between. But sometimes we just got to get our ass out that door and take that first step. Because if we never take that first step, if we never learn to let go, and it's all a process, but it all begins with taking a new step in a different direction. One that at first you may be very uncomfortable with. But and sometimes I'd beat myself up a lot, I never really wanted to be egotistical. I never really want to come off like that. At least not in the wrong way. I used to think, when I first encountered this awakening, awareness stuff, that having an ego was a bad thing, but actually it's not. My ego has saved me countless times. But if you're not careful, it can also do the opposite. It can also destroy you. You have to let it know that it's not your master, that your awareness is the true master. And your ego works for your awareness, because the ego can do magnificent things. It can do wondrous, magical things for you. So me, for instance, I wear this straw hat because I'm a huge fan of Monkey D. Luffy. And sometimes I just need to go for a run and be Monkey D. Luffy. Or Luke Skywalker. Or Captain America. All three of those characters are something that my ego, my persona, is very attached to, and I feel they are a part of my being. Not to say that I am Captain America or I am Monkey D. Luffy permanently, but I think that every once in a while, embracing the superhero persona can help bring people's energy out of the muck. Because sometimes we get so caught in the quicksand, we're just sinking. And we are having trouble uplifting ourselves and getting us out of the quicksand. But if you're fidgeting, you're punching, and you're kicking the quicksand, you're just going to sink deeper. And you're not going to have enough oomph to get you out. You got to learn to relax. But you also got to learn to disperse this energy within you in a more positive manner. And that's what I'm hoping. That's why I make these videos. It's like I'm releasing energy out there. I'm releasing consciousness through these videos. Power through my energy. But not in a way that is destructive to the individual or beings or other beings you're around. I don't wish to encourage any destructive behavior whatsoever. I'm like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I could be a mixture of fire. I am fire. And I could be very flary, and when it's sunny outside, that's when my power is like the most, that's when my internal energy is the most vibrant. It can be explosive. It could be explosive in a good way or, bad ways, depending on what my mood is and how much control I have over my awareness and my emotional state of being and all of that stuff. And guys and women are different. And without making that too complicated, you could kind of look at it as, as a guy, naturally, and I'm not saying this for all guys, this just goes for most guys, but as a guy, you're gonna have testosterone. You're gonna have energy you have to release. And there's positive ways you could do that, and then there's negative ways you can do that. And the positive ways I found for myself is, okay, well, maybe if I don't watch porn, maybe if I don't masturbate, maybe if I actually try, and I'm not going to succeed all the time, because keep in mind that the sexual desire has been instilled in our bodily DNA for centuries, thousands of years, since humans have first come into contact with the earth, wherever we came from, whatever you want to believe. It's in our DNA, rooted to our core. And maybe not all guys, but most guys have a really hard time controlling that. Or not necessarily controlling it, because sometimes it's not something you can control. More so navigating where that energy goes. And we have to learn to be our own navigator, to navigate that energy in a more healthy and productive fashion so it doesn't wreak havoc on our lives. And if the ego's in control, if you're doing this for, I'm a king and you should worship me, and I don't know. I mean, everybody's ego is different. But, if it's purely for egotistical purposes, then it's just going to leave you wounded in the end. And then you're going to have a lack of energy and not enough to make the shift in your life. But the universe will give you energy if you ask for it. But it also asks in return that you make that shift of consciousness. You're not sacrificing as much as you think you might be sacrificing. You're only sacrificing or admitting that your ego doesn't know what's best for you. And your ego doesn't know how to control and how to lead things properly. But with a little guidance, it can. And see, now I'm like cooling off. My energy's coming to a more balanced state, because I needed to get outside and release some energy. For some reason, being in nature doesn't. But yeah, man, we get stuck in the muck. And we need help getting out. I think a lot of us are stuck in the muck right now. And I get caught in it. Going through night is the worst phase for me. Especially since I live alone. Those characters I mentioned earlier, Monkey D. Luffy, Captain America, Luke Skywalker, Bilbo Baggins. Characters like that pull me out of the muck. They're imaginary, but they're alive inside me, and they pull me out of the muck and get my head back in the game. But I don't have to be lost in the game, because life is over when I die. Life is never going to stop being life. You're always going to have to feed yourself. Because of the way the world runs, you're always going to have to find a way to make money. You're always going to encounter suffering. You're always going to encounter hardships, but you're also going to encounter growth, endurance, life-changing events, lifelong bonds, friendships, family. All of these things are forged on the foundation of suffering. All of them. And without suffering, life wouldn't be beautiful and we wouldn't be able to appreciate it. You know how many people go throughout their day, whether it's a friend or a family or what have you on the internet? Hey, how are you? And this, and they say bye, like they expect to see that being again. Well, the truth is, death can come to us at any given moment. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I'm not saying that you constantly have to talk to that friend or family. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Because we don't have the capability to do that. Our desires are going to pull us in all different directions. But what we can do is we can really learn to appreciate the time we share with these people we care about. And not just that, but moving to the next level where you can appreciate going outside for a walk in the sun. You can appreciate the beauty in that and how much of a miracle that is. To get to do that another day, sign me up. You know? I think it's time we take a hard look at our blessings in life. This goes for every human being on the planet. Because the animals seem to do it better than us. Living the simple life. You know? And I'm not saying you have to give everything away and live in a teepee and give up your car and just sit down and meditate all day. I'm not saying you have to do that at all. I'm not saying you have to move away from the city and live off grid and get away from all the pain and suffering in the world, because that's not feasible either. You're running away from the inevitable. Suffering's all around us. Even on a microscopic level, there are cells in our body destroying and killing each other and at wars with each other just so we get to walk around and do this. Just so I get to walk around in the woods enjoying the sunlight. You know, and I know there's a lot of ugliness in the world, but I'm also talking to those humans as well. Donald Trump, if you ever watch this video, whoever's up there in power, I just know his name because I saw it on a placard. I know nothing about the guy, nothing. No personal information, nothing, other than he was a U.S. president once, and I think he's the new one, I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping in touch with the political news or the election or whatever, but if he's president again, I hope he watches this video because, the world is in dire need of some wisdom right now. And I'm not knocking intelligence. I'm not knocking the intellect at all. I'm saying instead of the intellect work for you, instead of you working for the intellect works for you. It's there for a reason. These inventions, all the great things humanity has done, these are wondrous things. Art, music. It's beautiful. And it's such a shame that some of us would rather kill each other instead of throwing on some Beatles or painting a painting or watching Bob Ross paint a painting. It's such a damn shame. And if you really do like this video, I encourage you, man, Share it with your friends. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your coworkers. Share it with your family. Share it with, not everyone, but just people you feel like need to watch this video. Because I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because my heart breaks when I realize deep down that we're just wasting time killing each other. There's no sense to it. None whatsoever. There is no reason that other humans should kill other humans. We're all on the same side on a universal level. There's no reason we should be killing each other. None at all. Instead, I think what we should do is direct that energy in a more positive and productive manner on learning to understand one another. I'm not just an American. I'm not just a Texan. I'm a human being just like you. And so is everybody else. So is your neighbor. So is that homeless guy you saw at the McDonald's. So is I forget his name. The guy in Russia. Putin. He's a human too, despite all the bad things he's done. I kind of like to compare it, humans who aren't aware of their inner beauty as much as you or I, because if you made it this far in the video, I'm sure by now you recognize that you're beautiful, I'm beautiful, we're all beautiful. Human life is beautiful. And for humans who aren't aware enough, are kind of like the sheep in Minecraft. They're innocent and they're dumb. But that's okay. Or if you don't want to use the word dumb, you could say unwise. But I think that we should learn to love each other, really. Truly, appreciatively. Love each other just as human beings. You don't have to be friends with everybody, and nor should you. You can't be friends with everybody, even if you tried, because we're limited. But our awareness is not limited. Our love is not limited. It doesn't have to be limited. It doesn't have to include bloodshed. So yes, please love each other. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with your friends. Comment below. Talk. I'll talk. I'm done hiding. I'm going to try my best to put energy into the world to help us get out of this mess. Because, man, the world desperately needs it. But I need your help as well. If you feel inclined to put your thoughts out there, please do it. It's YouTube. There's no specific way to do YouTube. You do YouTube how you want to do it. You can make videos however you want. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, it's, you're going to have people that dislike your opinions anyway. And you're going to have people that agree with you. We're all on different levels of awareness. That's what makes life so complicated. But it doesn't have to be complicated. The mind only complicates it. It can be very simple. It can be very simple. But you have to find a way to ground yourself. If you're freaking out in quicksand, you're not going to be grounded. You're just not. Got to find a way to ground yourself. Going out in nature, going for a walk. That might do it. I don't know. Going for a run. finding time to yourself to appreciate and love yourself first. And then you'll be able to love everybody else. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.